So they got the Knicks-Celtics game on in the background. I'm chatting with some of the dads.
Of course you are.
And
when are you not chatting?
And I'm just thinking like, oh, man, we could have got a better game. It was 50-70. Knicks were trailing by 20. I'm like, 70-50, Celtics, weak. I felt like I turned away for 5 minutes. Like, it felt like that. It felt like I turned my head for 5 minutes to get some quarters for the kids for the little video games, little arcade games.
What are they playing? Dig Dug?
And
Hubert?
I look at the TV and I'm like, wait, well, hold up. This game's tied? What the hell happened? Last night, the Boston Celtics should be ashamed of themselves. What a blown opportunity to just even it up at home. Now you got to go to Madison Square Garden, the Mecca.
Should they be ashamed of themselves, or should you just say props to the Knicks? Because there's orange and blue skies today, as Stephen A. Smith was saying. They're putting on a show, dude. They're showing their toughness. They're taking it back to the old school. Like the Knicks mean something nowadays.
But Cowherd and Rob Parker told me the Knicks wouldn't even win one more game in the series.
Nah, what do those jabronis know?
So I think the better question, can the Celtics come back? Who knows? Who cares? I mean, teams have come back from 2-0.
Dude,
now, when you lose 1 and 2 at home, a little different story, but I don't think that's the question here.
They should change their name to the New York Molarams. Bringing that joke back again on a Throwback Thursday. Because they just stole the heart, ripped the heart out of the Celtics with a Kalima. And they stomped all over it in Boston. Dude, you can't do that. If Boston turns it around, I mean, good for them. But the chances of that happening now, not looking good. Let's just say that. The Knicks did something that they didn't think, that we didn't think they could do, and props to them.
Well, if you want to be stat boy, they throw up the stats where teams that win games 1 and 2 on the road, I think have won like 80+% of their series.
That's the key here, guys, because they're going to go back to the Garden. It's going to be electric, boogie-oogie-oogie. You know what that Garden's going to sound like, dude? It's going to be hyped beyond belief. Every Guido in New York, every old-school Knick fan.
Oh.
Yeah, man. Every Spike Lee. It's going to be nuts.
Tracy Morgan's going to throw up, but out of excitement.
I'm going to make them pregnant. Tracy Morgan's going to be there. It's going to be wild at the Garden, dude.
Ben Stiller's going to
be
there.
So wild. Yeah, ticket prices are going crazy, and we're going to talk about that in a few minutes.
But I got to ask, based on that, forget if the Celtics could come back. Paul Pierce was talking such a big game yesterday about how if the Celtics lost, like he said he more likely to see a dinosaur. Here's what Paul Pierce said yesterday about the Knicks-Celtics game.
If the Celtics lose game 2 at home, I promise you, I'm walking here tomorrow. I'm walking here.
Why you got to do that?
Wait a minute.
I'm walking here 15 miles in my robe.
Get your friends.
No shoes on.
Somebody save him.
Bare feet.
No.
If what?
If the Celtics lose tonight.
I mean, I get where he's coming from. Defending champions. The Knicks, they're not punks. They're playing hard, but they're playing a tough New York Knicks team. It's not the 90s Knicks. You know, these guys got some fire. And don't they call Paul Pierce the truth? I mean, or is he lying right now?
First of all, the sentiment was the Celtics were going to whoop their ass. They were, as we mentioned yesterday, double-digit favorites. Home team after losing game 1. It seemed like, all right, we expected the Celtics to do yesterday what the OKC Thunder did, which was assert yourself in game 2 and remind everyone, hey, listen.
My God, did they ever.
So they didn't. So my question is this. Paul Pierce or anyone that loses a ridiculous bet or says some preposterous S, do you hold them to their word? Or you're like, oh, no, he was just...
We don't, but we should. How many people should move to Canada right now? I'll tell you, if Trump's president, I'm moving to Canada. Beat it. How many people ever live up to that? One ever? I can't
Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah, Ellen did. Somebody did.
I must admire Ellen for sticking to it.
But that's what we mean by it. People say these things, and we're supposed to take their word.
I think some people might argue she fled the country for other reasons.
Yeah.
Right? But you say things like that, you got to be a man of your word or a woman of your word. As they said in the 90s, your word's your bond.
Well, apparently 20 miles, 8 hours.
Word.
Paul Pierce followed through.
Word up.
on his bet. There's video of him.
Did he? Because it looked like acting to me
I mean,
when I saw it.
It looked like he was pretty clean and fresh to have just walked
Yeah, it
20 miles.
looked like it was a bunch of acting.
Yeah, good editing.
Do you believe Paul Pierce? And
I saw the little map.
do you expect someone to fulfill this bet?
Yes, absolutely. Especially when you're talking nationally to an audience and you're putting your word out there like that. You have to. You have to, absolutely.
I mean, what if we're watching the Dodgers game?
Dude, what do Lannisters do?
Pay their debts.
You got to.
What if I said to Danny, let's say we were just horsing around watching the Dodgers game, and I'm like, bro, if Teoscar Hernandez hits a home run right now, I'll give you $1,000. If Teoscar goes yard, does Danny really, where's my 1,000?
That would
ask
require
for my 1,000.
I don't know. You could hold him to it for fun, right? But I think that's where the handshake matters.
Or you could negotiate. I'd be like, all right, Rich, 100, and we're even.
Like Paul Pierce going on his rant yesterday, that didn't require a handshake. He was saying, I will do this if blank, blank, blank.
I promise.
Right? If you're making a bet, you said, I bet you he hits a home run right now. I'll give you $1,000. That requires an official handshake. If you gave Danny G the official handshake in that moment, yeah, you'd owe him $1,000.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that's just smack talk. That's just, whoa, what a coincidence.
If you're shooting hoops with your buddy, and you're like, yo, half court shot, hundo if I hit this, whoa, like.
Yeah. Did you
I
shake
don't know.
on it? Nah. Did you shake? You got to shake on it.
So my question
The
is,
gentleman's shake, that matters.
Paul Pierce level bets. What if you told your buddy, hey, if in 04, let's say some Yankees fan was like, yo, Red Sox stink. Yo, if they come back down 3-0, I'll get the Red Sox logo tattooed on my ass. Like,
And then
now, do you expect
that requires, wait, no, really? Yeah. All right, bet. Shake on it.
And then
Then it's official. Yeah.
all right.
Yeah. I think so. If you present it that way. When Paul Pierce, he sort of set up everything on his own. If this happens, I'll do that. That's not his own thing. Okay, go do it.
You know what this reminds me of? Our pal Mad Dog Russo.
Oh, I knew you were going to bring it up.
Who I love. Remember a couple years ago.
Well, you know what it is, Rich?
Mad Dog Russo.
See, now, real life, right? I guess life imitates art in this case. But in the world of entertainment, there's something called the payoff. Payoff translates in real life, too. Like, where's the payoff? You didn't pay off. But in broadcasting, television, entertainment, you can't say something and leave it hanging. You have to give the payoff.
Yeah,
That's like teasing something on the radio. Give a trivia question, never gave the answer.
It's a bit. A bit needs a payoff. A joke needs a payoff. A joke needs a punchline.
Exactly.
And
but especially in entertainment.
Yeah, if you set up something, you need to hear or see the other end of it. Now, Mad Dog Russo, who I respect, Mike and the Mad Dog paved the way for everyone in sports radio. So you always got to respect Mad Dog Russo. He's a good dude, too.
Yeah, respectfully, we do love the guy.
But the only thing Mad Dog Russo has ever done that made me go, oh, come on, doggy, was when he said, the Arizona Diamondbacks will never win. Like, he was so adamant that the Diamondbacks wouldn't make it to the World Series. I think they played the Phillies and someone else. Like, every series along the way, he was anti-Diamondbacks. And then the team was even in on it, like, yo, Mad Dog Russo's against us. When they made it to the World Series, and they did lose that World Series. Wait, did they make it to the World Series, or did they lose in the...
No, but it was like advancing to the next round
to
or
the
whatever.
NLCS, right? I think.
Yeah.
But Mad Dog Russo said if they beat a certain team, he would retire. And
they did.
I always remember him just sort of being like, well, what are you going to do?
And it was a big deal. So.
Oh, they
Oh,
did
that was the
make it.
Rangers
All right,
Diamondbacks year?
In my mind, I'm like.
I thought that was the Dodgers Yankees year for
that
whatever. That's
2
years ago already?
2 years ago. Yeah, 2023 World
Oh,
Series.
my God.
Yeah, dude. It's
It
when
was
you,
kind of a forgettable World
it's
Series.
that's when you dusted off your Creed CDs, remember?
Yeah. Can you take me higher?
Thank you, Kirk Cousins.
You're absolutely right.
So, yeah, my instinct was right. Yeah, the Diamondbacks lost in the World
I
Series.
just can't believe that was 2 years ago the Mad Dog thing happened. So, again, as a radio guy, you think he's almost setting up a bit. If they make it to the World Series, I'll retire. Okay. They made it. So now what? Now you're going to forget about this whole buildup you made? It was a big story.
And
it wasn't something that he said in passing. It was like a big deal.
A proclamation.
And everybody was talking about it. That's how adamant he was. And then if you remember, when it came down to a payoff, Howard Stern even said, look, even as an entertainer, as a radio guy, you got to have a payoff. You have to do something. And
Now-
he gave him like an out or an opportunity.
The reality is that none of us wanted or expected Mad Dog Russo to retire.
Oh, no, of course
Like,
not.
why would you want a legendary, great
No.
broadcaster to retire?
I didn't expect him to retire, Rich, but he had to pay off after making that proclamation.
Yeah, and I believe SiriusXM's Howard Stern gave him an out, like, hey, listen, Mad Dog Russo, why don't you go around Times Square
Because you got to.
in, like, Diamondback underwear and just make a fool of yourself?
Yeah.
And
I was wrong.
And-
Here's my payoff.
I remember thinking, wow, Howard came out with a great out
A great compromise.
for Mad Dog Russo, and he's like, yeah, not going to do that. And I'm thinking, we never got that payoff, and that's why that bit will always stick in my mind. Like, yeah.
And I think that's the learning lesson there. For a guy who rarely missteps, I mean, Mad Dog has given us plenty of great payoffs in his career. That's one where you were like, what? You were saying X, Y, and Z, and you didn't give us anything. I think that Paul Pierce didn't necessarily have to walk 15 miles barefoot in a robe. I'm glad he
Did something?
but he
Yeah.
could have sat there with a dunce cap on and said I was wrong or whatever, and that would have been fine if he at least acknowledged it. You
There
know what I mean?
needs to be a payoff.
There has to be something,
end.
and it doesn't have to be that. It could be a compromise.
I wish there was a live stream on him today. You know what I mean? Because I've seen clips, and most of the articles I'm looking at says it appears that he paid the bet off, and there is a shot where he's wearing shoes. So they said he did wear shoes for some of it. It obviously was a photo op where he was walking
You mean
barefoot.
the truth is full of BS?
Well,
Who knows?
I want some investigators on this to
You know
see
what, though,
how
Danny
much
G?
of this he walked. Did he drive and stop and walk and film and then get back in the car? Was he, acting this out?
Can a guy of his stature, I mean, how tall is Paul Pierce? You look at him, you know he's somebody, even if you don't know basketball. With all the fans and everybody that does know him, can a guy like him do this and not be harassed?
He's 6'7".
6'7" guy walking around in a robe.
Barefoot.
Yes.
Can he do that, honestly? Is that part of it?
A robe with his last name on the
Yeah,
back.
can he really do that?
Well, it's Hollyweird. Of course you can. Tourists walk. It's just Hollyweird.
I
It's
don't
just
know,
a weird
bro.
place.
I am a nobody from Nowhereville, and I can't walk around and feel safe in Hollywood. I was in Hollywood this past weekend with my daughter. I couldn't get to my car fast enough. It doesn't get murdered.
Where were you?
Not even kidding you. Yeah, I was like, get me out of here. Hobo Alley is where I was at. I don't know where I was.
You having lunch on Skid Row?
Yeah, I know. I was at by a tourist attraction getting lunch.
You know what made me think, though?
Hobo.
That's
Well-dressed hobo.
That's
So-
why in the world of boxing and wrestling, which I'm not saying are the same thing, that's why when they use the word retirement, I never take it serious, because how many times has there been a retirement match in wrestling and a year later he's reinstated, or a boxer or a UFC fighter will say, this is it.
They're the
And,
biggest
you know,
culprits, yeah.
And then the money comes back and it's like, wow, he's fighting again.
I'd have to say those are the biggest culprits, followed by people that are going to move out of the country if so-and-so wins the election, because they never do. They never stick to their word. So Paul Pierce had the payoff. For that, we give him props. Did he really walk the 15 miles? And when do you have to pay up? You have to give some sort of compromise, some sort of payoff always, as we learned. But as far as money is concerned, the handshake is the be-all, end-all deal maker. That's it. Did we shake on it? When you and I put $1,000 Yankees-Mets,
Yeah.
right now, if I had to pay Rich, I'd have to pay him $1,300 because the Mets have 3 more wins than the Yankees. So we have $1,000 bet plus $100 for every game over. We shook on that. We made it public. It burns me inside that I'm gonna have to pay this guy if they win. Every time the Mets win a game on the Yankees, I'm like, oh, here's another $100. But we shook on it. That's what made it official.
Danny G, if the Mets are ahead towards the end of the season, much like a DraftKings, I'm going to start giving Covino payout options.
Oh,
Like, let's say,
if I do the truffle shuffle,
No,
I could take 500 off.
let's say it's like early September and there's still a month of baseball, but the Mets are, let's say, 5 games better. I may say,
double or nothing.
no, Covino. If you cancel the bet now, you only have to pay me $1,000.
Oh,
or give you
okay.
payouts. Like if the Mets are up by 3 games with 15 to go, I might say, you know what? 800 if you cancel now.
But what made it official, because, Rich Knight, we talk stupid things like that all the time. I didn't shake on it, so it doesn't count. We shook on that. Different story. But I'm glad to hear that Paul Pierce stood his ground, did his thing.
He at least put effort
But
into it.
at least gave us the illusion that he did it.
Well,
and
you know what?
Props again to the Knicks. Let's
Cove?
not forget that these guys are in a zone. They're playing big. Brunson's just hitting nice shots, and they're looking nasty.
Let's also not forget that the Boston Celtics are the defending champions. So if there were an exciting storyline of a team being down 2-0, having to go to New York, it has like Yankees, Red Sox written all over it, right? Like Red Sox have to go to the Garden now. Jalen Brunson's playing at a different level. As you said, when Jalen Brunson shoots a shot, sometimes it feels like it doesn't even hit the net.
Yeah,
like it's
his shots are hitting so crisp. It looks like, did that go in? Seriously.
So,
and we looked this up on the Doug Gottlieb show. Coach Tom Thibodeau, he was coach of the Bulls, 2017, had a 2-0 series lead over the Celtics in the Eastern Conference first round, ended up losing the series. So it has been done before.
It's been done before.
It can be done.
Oof.
Well,
taking hearts.
Game
away.
3 in the Garden is going to be the hottest ticket. We're going to talk about those prices later, but right now Boston is favored at the Garden for Game 3. They think the Celtics are somehow going to rebound.
Well, and to that point, Rich, Bet Online, series open Celtics minus 750 to advance.
Ooh, damn.
Knicks were plus 535. So
substantial.
Yes. Now Knicks minus 105, Celtics minus 115 to win the series. So it's not like it's the Knicks minus 300 and the Celtics plus 200.
The Celtics, according to Vegas, will still win the series.
Yes.
115 minus 115 is you're still wagering more. So Vegas would say right now it's
Correct.
sort of even, slight advantage Celtics
Yes.
still.
Yeah, it's clearly not over because it's the Celtics defending champions, but the Knicks did everything they had to do.
Listen,
and more.
Lizzo did not sing yet.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Yeah.
What? Now the other series, man, the Thunder played like the team that was 20 games better than everyone else in the league. So now you got to ask yourself, does Denver go home now? And Jokic say, yo, guys, what happened? So a lot of great NBA right now. It's really exciting time to be even a casual.
That was such a
NBA
blowout,
fan.
Rich. I don't mind that you continued on with your pizza night because that game was like, what? Damn.